listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. You know, I have to tell you, I am blessed because I started in the entertainment field when I was 72. And I have met in all these years, and being 86 years young right now, I have met some phenomenal people. Not only are they talented, but they're caring and they're kind. And one of them is sitting right beside me, beautiful Connie Marie Brazelton. I mean, you are just a winner in every way.
Thank you.
You are an actress, you are a dancer, Hollywood, Broadway. Tell me a little bit about where you began, please.
Well, I began in a little city called Waukegan, Illinois, with a wonderful mother who said, no, you're not going to be out there in the park. You're going to be out there twirling the baton.
I love it.
And that was my first stage, and that was my first introduction to performing and being on stage and learning how to practice and practice and practice. So
that took you to L.A.?
Well, yes. After I graduated from college at Southern Illinois University, I had a great platform with Catherine Dunham, who had a performing arts training center.
That's right.
there.
Okay.
And I had the best of both worlds. I had training from the earthy people of Catherine Dunham and the political hill. On top of the hill, Southern Illinois University, where I had a vast training, and from there I went to New York, and that's when my Broadway career started.
And what was one of the shows that you were in Broadway?
Well, it's been so long. Let me see if I can remember.
Yeah.
Okay, the first show I did after 6 months of being in New York was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes, I love that.
Radio City Music Hall. It was their first equity show there, so I was blessed.
Oh, wow.
You know, we even went out on the road. They did a big national tour to search for Snow White all over the world and all over the country, rather. Right. And so it was a really big thing for New York at that time, and then they took it out on the road, and then they brought it back.
Oh my goodness!
By popular demand. So it was a great beginning.
How long in all were you there?
That show ran over, I think, over a year or so. We were back and forth for humble beginnings, and then I did another show, which was short-lived. Got to Go Disco.
Oh, okay. That sounds like fun, though.
Yeah, it was fun. And Irene Cara was the star, and those were my
Now, you were
beginnings.
dancing and singing.
Well, I was forced to sing, Miss Pink.
I know.
I've been trained in acting and dancing, and I always said that I can act like I can sing, and I can act like I can dance, but I'm really an actor.
And she has here a fan of her singing as well as her dancing, which you will get a little while now. But then came a really fun experience, and I know you did commercials and everything.
Yes.
But
in
the TV genre of us is the longevity of a part that you play in certain things. And ER, everyone, tell us about that, how you got that.
Well, I can thank John Levy for bringing me in. He's the casting director who gave me my first job down at Mark Taper Forum.
Oh, wow.
And
what was that first job?
That was an improvisational theater project where like people like Forrest Whitaker and all these great beginnings.
Okay.
Yeah, back when no one had a name, but we had names. And John Levy cast me in ER as the nurse. We did the pilot, and no one knew that it was going to be a great series. We just thought we were shooting a movie, movie of the week. I went on about my way, and then they called and said, hey, this is going. So I was blessed to...
for 10 years.
10 years. I had my baby on there, who is my biggest production.
I love it.
Michael Samarie George.
I'd like the audience to see you did This Is Us recently.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to show a little snippet of it right now. So, Bobby, are we ready to do that snippet there? I think they're going to show it. And
And who do we have here?
We usually just call them 1, 2, and 3.
So well behaved.
Oh, give them time.
Okay. If you don't mind raising your right hand. Okay, one hand will do. To affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
We do.
Do you wish to adopt this child as your legally adopted son?
We do.
We do.
And what name shall this child be known?
Randall Kenneth Pearson.
You have done the hard work. You've chosen to love. I, on the other hand, have the pleasure of signing it into law. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
wow. I love
was
it.
lucky.
And you also had your own show.
Well, yes, I've been working on my show. I'm trying to be like you, Miss Pink. I'm looking, you're doing everything I want to do. And I've been working on my own social media club.
Okay.
Book. It's
Oh,
a show.
let's-
It's not
let's show
just
it.
a book, but everything in this book is kind of like who I am.
And what is it called?
CMB show.
CMB show. And how do people get this if they want to?
Well, they really don't need this. They just need to tune in at
Oh, how do they do that?
thecmbshow.com.
The CMBshow.com.
And what is that show about? It's about me and all our social medias, and we're of age now, and so we like to do a lot of things, and I like to share. I share from anything from a friend like CCH Pounder or a Roxanne Reese, or I'll share my dogs. I'll share my cooking.
Your family,
my
right?
family, and it's been a journey, and I am having so much fun with that.
I love it. And also, if you notice, everyone, we have a tree on our table here with some fascinating, beautiful jewelry. Tell me about that. Now, that's called Banji
Face.
Okay.
Face jewelry.
Okay, what does that mean, first of all?
Well, it means one with God, Banji.
okay.
And many years ago, my mom, rest in peace, said, look at this. And I looked at it. It was a piece of jewelry, and I said, I can make that. And that was the beginning of
really?
me. I don't know. I was just filled with certain things.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had a good friend of mine, Roxanne, also inspired me, my mom, and then CCH Pounder, where we made jewelry together for many years. And all of our pieces are like one-of-a-kind pieces.
Wow.
This piece, I'm particularly...
Love that.
This ivory piece is a passport made of ivory. You can't get this, probably about 200 or 300 years old, this little piece down here. And then the rest of it's brass. And
Now, you're telling me that you make this?
Well, you know what? I put it all together.
Okay.
I am the designer, honey.
Okay.
Yes, I make
Wow.
all of these. I'm known for my earrings, my anklets.
Like the one you have on now, your earrings.
Yeah, but I didn't make these. I should have. Bad girl. But this is what I'm really known for. Standing up, if I can get it off without too much time.
Okay.
These are the long, some people call them body adornments.
Oh, wow.
But I just wear them like this.
Okay.
Over. Voila. Or you can
Wow.
double it. And the thing about making jewelry, I've been making it for over 25 years.
Oh, my goodness,
And all
okay.
the jewelry that I wore on ER,
You made.
I made.
Oh,
All
wow.
the jewelry in this picture there, I made. And then one of the great things, some of my jewelry had a storyline. Like
Oh.
Noah Wiley wore this perfect, beautiful bracelet.
Right.
And it was my bracelet.
I love
so
it.
I had a great time selling jewelry to a lot of the shows while I was on the show.
We Are America. And she sang and danced and sang her way across the stage to claps and applause like you cannot believe it. And right now, because I think she is a singer dancer, she claims to be a dancer singer. So you know what? I'm going to let you as our audience decide. Either way, she's a winner. So would you mind giving us a song?
Not at all. And this is for you, Pink, because You believe in me. Okay. Let me start. I had fun.
Oh, my Lord. I tell you, Connie
I'll
Marie
change it.
Brazelton, you are adorable.
I had the privilege of watching you perform that, doing 9 performances at the Madrid Theater,
Oh.
the end of November, December 2017.
Right.
Are we going to do it again?
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Oh,
and-
we
Hopefully.
do. It was so
and
much
the
fun.
audience really, you owned them.
Yeah, you did.
You owned them.
You did.
Thank
And
you.
the red dress, I mean, when I tell you smashing was not the word. She
Yeah.
was absolutely, you did. You just sparkled.
Thank
and you
you.
do sparkle. And you know what?
Thank you.
I am blessed.
You are.
Dove is blessed to know you.
Thank you.
And
I
our
feel the
audience
same
now,
way.
well, our audience
feel the
now
same
knows you, knows Banji. Now, where can they buy Banji?
Well,
Give them
they
again
just have to-
the site that they can go on.
Well, Banji Face Jewelry,
Okay.
banjiface at yahoo.com. You can get a hold of me.
Good.
Banjiface at yahoo.com.
And spell it for them. It's BANJI
Face, F-A-C-E, one
Banji
word.
Face, at Yahoo.
Banjiface at yahoo.com.
Got
And
it.
anything you want to ask or talk about, all of my pieces are one of a kind. So you just have to trust me, and I'll make you a special piece, pink, white. You can't wear pink here, though.
No.
It's only one pink.
There's only one pink lady over here. Anyway, I thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Connie. You're a delight. And Connie has something to be very proud of. Her daughter, Michael. Samari,
Michael Samarie,
George.
Delia Elizabeth George.
is in Hamilton.
Yes.
Yes. So you see, from generation to generation, what do we say?
Lidor Vidor,
Le-
from generation to generation.
I love it. And you know what? We are blessed to have someone like Connie Marie as a friend, as a talent, and as a phenomenal young woman with caring, kindness, and talent.
And as a model
Yes.
for other young women to know that not only can they do it, but they owe it to themselves to get out there Don't take no for an answer, and keep going.
Keep going.
Because, I had a friend who was a comedian, Jan Murray, years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And one of his routines was the fellow who invited 5 Up quit and 6 Up quit, but the one who got to 7 Up has a great beverage company. So you gotta keep going.
I love it. And with that, I will say we will be right back. You were beautiful. Thank you. I believe it is not the breaths we take in life that count. It's what we do with the breaths we take. And I should know. 84 years young. Today on this stage, you will see talented performers all over the age of 60.
Life is a cabaret, old chum. It's only a cabaret, old chum.
Money! You got lots of friends hanging around that door.
I'm gonna live and live now, 'cause everything's coming up rosy.
Then your fingers touched my silent heart and taught it how to sing.
Dear, with your lips to mine, oh, rhapsody divine, zing went the strings of my heart.
To reach the unreachable stars.
But I've got to do it all in 3 minutes or less. How about maybe ragtime? How about boogie woogie?
Woo! Darling, let's dance. Let the music take us. The blues ain't gonna break us. We won't give it no chance.
Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
You've treated me so kind, I'm about to lose my mind. You made me so very happy.
So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
To reach the unreachable stars.
Hey world, I am what
We are honored in so many ways to have Tommy Lasorda in our lives.
It was good to see the young.
We are back. And we are back with a bang and a car ride. I'm going to say that. I am so privileged because, well, at, shall we say, 86 years young, I have one problem. And with a lot of people have it, it's called sciatic. And pretty bad. I mean, it can lay me up for days where I can't walk. And if I have some place to go, I can't drive. And that is not a good thing. For many people out in the world today, they have problems with a lot of disability. Some are in canes, some are in wheelchairs. They need some kind of a place that they can call, an organization that can help them get from one point to the next point. And I am so proud to have the head of an organization called Access. And with me is Colaiace, who is the head of the phenomenal, absolutely life-saving group of people that help people like myself and people all over the country. Am I correct? So,
That's
Andre,
correct.
it's Access. Tell me about Access.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Dove and Pink Lady. It's a pleasure to be here. Shana Tova, Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you.
Access Services is really a product of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which was passed in the 90s, and it essentially said if you have a fixed route bus system or rail system,
Right.
you need to provide a complementary paratransit system. So when they passed the ADA,
Right.
all around the country, they had to start a paratransit system. So in Los Angeles County, what they decided to do, because we have a number of fixed route bus systems in LA County, we
Right.
have Metro is the biggest. Everyone's heard of Metro. Santa Monica, Long Beach, LA DOT. And instead of having 30 or 40 different paratransit systems, they think they made the wise decision to have one system, and that system was Access Services. And so Access started in 1994, and that's how
Wow.
we were born. And so across the country, there is paratransit. In LA County, we have what's called a coordinated paratransit system, which is somewhat unique, where you can travel, as we say, from Pomona to Malibu without having to transfer. And you can go all around the LA basin for one fare and on one vehicle. So
And how many of them are around the country? How many are?
anywhere there is a fixed route bus system, so like in Boston or Rhode Island, where we're from, Rhode Island has its own paratransit system.
Oh, okay.
The MBTA in Boston has its own paratransit system. Anywhere there is a fixed route bus or rail system, according to the law, you
Right.
have to have a paratransit system. So
And-
Access is an individual public transit entity just for Los Angeles County, but there are similar agencies or similar services like Access all around the United States.
And you're going to blow our audience away when you tell them how many people at this point, thank you God, that you take care of.
Well, we have at this time we have approximately 160,000 customers in LA County who are eligible for Access Services. On any given day, we probably provide 10 to 12,000 trips. So probably unique individuals we help every day, 5 to 6,000 people, I'd say.
A day?
A day.
Wow, that is unreal. I mean, that really is. Now, you pick them up at their house.
Let me just run this.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. You pick them up at the house.
Correct.
And then they call in. I mean, how does that all work?
Sure. Well, in order to be, first you have to be evaluated. So you have to call our customer service, and I have a number right here.
Please give that number now, because
Sure.
we're going to keep doing that.
Okay, it's 1-800
1-800
827
827
0829.
0829.
So you call customer service and you say, I would like an application for Access Services. They'll ask you a couple questions, and then they'll send you an application. You can also get the application online at our website, which is www.accessla.org.
Okay, let's do that once more.
Sure. www.accessla.org. So, and we are also working on online applications.
Oh, I was going to say,
so
yes.
that's one, and maybe when we get to a later part of this discussion, I'll talk about what our plans are for the future,
Great.
but we're definitely trying to put everything online for the agency. So you call customer service, you ask for an application, they'll send you an application.
Okay.
Has 7 or 8 questions on it, and you fill them out. And essentially, eligibility for paratransit across the country is based not on your age, it's not on your disability,
Right.
it's based on whether you can use the bus or rail.
Yes.
So the questions on the application are about how you're able to use the bus or rail. So if you're
And if I may, it's not only based on income. So it could be age. It could. There's
no
many
income.
qualifications.
There's no income test.
max or minimum.
It's solely on your abilities
Right.
to use the fixed route bus or
Oh,
rail.
I like that, yeah.
Okay.
So, and the idea really behind paratransit was that it was supposed to be complementary to the bus. So when the Congress passed the ADA, they didn't want a system just for seniors. They just wanted a system for people who couldn't use the bus, and that was the great thing about the ADA. It was about accessibility and inequality. And so when you think about access, we are considered a civil right under the law. So we're the only transportation in the United States that's considered a civil right. So when you get your application, we'll ask you some questions about your ability, again, to use the fixed route bus or rail, and you fill it out, you send it in, and then you call us, and we will give you a ride to we have a new eligibility center in the City of Commerce.
Ah, okay. Since when did you move from where you were before?
About a year or so, a year and a couple months. We used to be
in El Monte originally.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we will give you a ride, or if you have someone to give you transportation, you can drive yourself, and you will go, and you will meet with an evaluator, generally a physical therapist, who will talk to you about your abilities to use whether you can use the fixed route bus or rail, and they'll evaluate you, and then within 21 days you'll have a decision, and then if you'll get a letter in the mail essentially saying whether you're eligible or not for access.
I must tell you something. I must tell our audience this. When I went, I have to tell you, in every organization, you have people who work for you. And I'll say with you, okay? And in all organizations, there are different type of people. There wasn't one person when I went that wasn't kind, considerate, informative. I mean, took me right through everything, talked to me, went through all that, what was wrong, what I was looking for. I mean, absolutely the most professional group of people I have met in a long, long time. So you should be very proud of these people.
Thank you. It's nice of you to say that.
Because it's not an easy job. Right. I mean, we're all different. We all have different stories in our life. My partner, Dove, here, you were a member of the board, am I correct?
I actually served as an officer and then chairman of the board for 2 years.
For 2 years?
Yes.
And how did you hear about it?
I heard about it because I had open heart surgery and I needed paratransit.
There you go.
And so I applied. I didn't know anybody there. It wasn't like calling up someone you know and asking for a favor. I said, what do I need to do? They told me. Yeah. And I brought in the appropriate paperwork and I got my card. And I have used Access Paratransit ever since. I also am so appreciative that Access has reached out to our veteran community, and we have actually brought van loads of veterans who are in need of these services. It changes their lives, whether if they're a veteran who's disabled or someone with cerebral palsy or someone with any disability, emotional, physical. It's an amazing organization. The more I got involved, the more I got involved. One of the things I wanted to mention was we fought a fight during the years that I was chairman to keep the rates from being increased. Because all across the country, they were raising the fares. There's no subscription cost, but here in Los Angeles County, if you're 20 miles or less, it's $2.75.
Correct.
If you're more than 20, it's $3.50 maximum.
Wow.
And we fought the fight. Andre, tell us, how did we win that fight? Because I think we're one of the only counties to.
Well, the fight was over the ADA regulations say that the fare that you charge for paratransit can't be more than twice what the bus charges. So when you're in a place like Rhode Island or Chicago or someplace with one transit system, they have a fare and you double it, and that's the maximum you can charge for paratransit. So it's very easy to calculate. But like I said at the beginning of the segment, we have a coordinated paratransit system with right now we have 45 member agencies. So the question is, how do you determine what is the maximum fare you could charge for paratransit? And what we were told was, well, you would have to run every single trip requested through a Metro trip planner, and that would spit out a fare, and you could double it, and that would be the maximum you could charge for that trip. The problem with that is that you would have different fares for different trips, and we just felt that would be too confusing for our customers. Imagine calling up and saying one day it would be $2.50, the next day it would be $4, depending on where you're going to go. And so we worked with the Federal Transit Administration on it, and then we worked on Congress. We engaged Dove and the Community Advisory Committee and our riders on this issue. And the community members, the members of Access Services, agreed with us that, we're going from a very simple fare structure to one that would be much more complex. And Congress agreed with us, and we were able to get an amendment in the FAST Act, which was a transportation reauthorization bill. And so we got one sentence. It's one sentence, the first sentence I've ever gotten in federal law, so I was very proud of that. And
what was that sentence?
The sentence essentially said that we have to link our fares to the fares of Metro, which is the biggest transit system in the county. Right. And so their current base fare is $1.75, which means we cannot charge more than $3.50.
Okay, wait a minute now. $1.75.
If you're on the bus.
Correct.
Times two is $3.50.
$3.50.
And that's the maximum
fare on Access.
I get
That's 20 miles or more. If it's under, it's $2.75.
Right.
Flat rate for everybody. And then there's another thing I'd like you to tell us about, because I've actually done this with groups of veterans. We would take an Access vehicle to Orange County and pay the fare, and then transfer and take another Access vehicle to San Diego County and pay the fare, and then go to San Diego door to door, and it was about $9 round trip for two people. Because when you have your card, you can take a personal care attendant. So it's two people going on every trip for $2.75 or $3. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And it's real.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So when you're a member of Access Services in LA County, you're able to go as a guest to another paratransit system. So Access Services will allow someone from outside of LA County who maybe is a member of the Orange County paratransit system. They have 21 days of eligibility when they come to LA County. So you're able to travel, like Dove was saying, from LA to Orange County if you would like as a guest on that system. So there's in the regulations they carved out something for these type of guest things. So if someone flies into LAX from New York City, they can take Access. They have to tell us ahead of time, of course, so we know that they're eligible, and they have to send us the paperwork to prove that they're members of the New York transit system. But you have again 21 days of guest eligibility if you're a member of any paratransit system in the country.
When you say eligibility, you mean that when they come here,
right? They are already a member of Access,
and they can use it while they're here.
Right.
Correct.
Right. When I had occasion on family emergency to go to Boston, before 21 days, or not, it actually was 3 days ahead, I contacted customer service. They faxed the paperwork to Boston. And then I got a call, and when I landed at Logan Airport, there was an Access vehicle, took me to the destination. When I went back to the airport, they took me back again, and they picked me up at Los Angeles Airport, brought me home. It's an amazing service through the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah, it really shows how Congress can make a difference when they pass legislation like that. I mean, we are.
And what was the year that they passed it?
I believe it was 1990. But
the
then
original
the original ADA was, I believe, was 1990. It was signed by President Bush.
When we were able to get the rates stabilized, that was what? 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
I would say about 3 years ago. I think 2015.
Yeah.
Just unreal. I'm just now, just go back a little, and as an example, just tell us if someone was. Are they tooting their horn at people to come out of their house? Are they going up and helping people? I mean, how does it work about picking up and all that?
The difference between curb to curb and door to door.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, the idea behind paratransit was comparability to the fixed route bus. So when they passed the original regulations, they said you can either have a curb to curb system or a door to door system. Access for a long time was a curb to curb system. But then,
can you explain that?
Sure, of course.
I mean,
yes, if I'm getting too technical, I'm happy to
it's just
explain
that the audience, I like to bring them along,
Sure.
you know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Curb to curb essentially means the vehicle will stop at the curb and the customer has to get themselves to the
Right,
curb.
to the curb. Okay.
Now, in a door-to-door system, the driver will go to the door and knock on the door, and so then
Right
escort
there.
the person from the
I
door
get
to
it.
the
To
vehicle.
help them if they need assistance.
Exactly.
I
So
get it.
the regulations allowed you, local entities, to choose: are we
Right.
going to be a curb-to-curb system or a door-to-door system? And
And that depends-
access for a long time was a curb-to-curb system,
Right.
and then the FTA said, well, if people need additional assistance, you need to do more. And
Okay.
so that's when we started. We call it Beyond the Curb. So we do provide additional assistance to people beyond the curb, up to 60 feet beyond the vehicle, if they need it.
Okay, and what's the prerequisite?
Well,
Is
let
that the
me
word?
give you an example
Good.
that I was
Thank
involved
you.
with.
Good.
We have a lot of blind veterans in Long Beach. There's a separate facility where they
Oh.
go for medical treatment.
Right.
Okay. Well, the person without sight could be sitting on the bench, and the access vehicle would be at the curb, but the person doesn't know it's at the curb. Well,
Yes.
now some
Right.
effort will be made to go and find the person or knock on the door of a house,
Right.
which is an added benefit. Those who don't need it, as I don't,
Right.
I would go curb to curb, and it's my responsibility to watch out for the vehicle.
Okay.
But if you need that extra service, it's now available through Access.
And we also have a couple different mechanisms to alert people that the vehicle is coming.
What is that?
So, for example, we have phone call outs. So you can say when
Oh.
you're booking a reservation, I'd like a phone call out, and you'll get a call out to your phone saying the vehicle has arrived. We are working on text call outs, similar if you have AAA or any of these
Right.
other services. When the tow truck is approaching you, you'll get a text.
Right.
And so we have implemented that in some of our regions. And also we have a smartphone application called Where's My Ride?
Oh, I like that.
Which is similar to Uber and Lyft, where you can actually track your paratransit trip.
Oh, really?
If you have 15 minutes before it's supposed to be there, it will show up on your phone, and you can say, okay, it'll say how long it's going to take to get there. And so you can, instead of being at the curb, you can actually be in your home or wherever
Right.
you happen to be, and use the Where's My Ride app to determine when the vehicle is going to be there. So that's just one of the ways we're trying to use technology to make the service more usable for people.
And tell us, if you will, another feature of Access, those who have service animals.
Yes.
Oh,
How
that's,
does
yeah.
Access deal with caring for those members?
Our customers with service animals are just like any other customer. We have
Okay.
to accommodate them and their service animal, and so we have our drivers are trained
Okay.
to understand how to serve anyone with a disability, but specifically also customers with service
Right.
animals.
So when they call, they should tell, I have a service animal
Correct.
with me.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's one
When
of
you
the
call,
things,
you have to call, because when we're routing the trips, they have to know that there's a service animal there, because that goes to
Depends on the car that you
correct.
send
It goes to the
right.
capacity of the vehicles, and so we will depending on the customer, we will dispatch a taxi or one of our accessible vans.
I was
and-
going to ask you, what do you use? What
Yes.
type of...
And so we treat. Customers with service animals are very important to Access, and we treat them the best we can. So our drivers are trained to make sure that they are sensitive to all disabilities, but particularly our customers with service animals.
Now, the drivers that you use, Andre, they're prepared for all types of situations? I mean,
Yes.
do they go through a training session?
Yes. Well,
how is that?
Access is a public agency, but we
Okay.
use private companies to provide the service. And those companies either use their own employees,
Right.
which use the white Access vans you might see on the street.
Yes,
And
I've seen, we've seen them, yes.
And we have about 750 of those white accessible Access vans, and those are generally employees of the companies.
Uh-huh.
But then the companies also have subcontracts with taxi companies. And so you might get picked up by a van, you might get picked up by a taxi, but all of the drivers have to go through the same training and have to meet the same standards for
wow.
Access.
Mhm.
So a
And then-
taxi driver has to meet the same training and sensitivity
Right.
standards as someone on
And I
one of
know
our
that
vans.
beside Access-owned cars and minivans, There are also larger vehicles, because I know there are many people that go to the same place 5 days a week, an occupational therapy program. Tell us a little bit about that extended service.
Generally, if you want to use Access, you call the day before for a trip tomorrow. But we have what's called a subscription trip or standing order, as Dove is. I think Dove is. That's what Dove is good. So if you go to the same place at the same time on the same day on a regular basis, you can call up. You can call us and say, "Oh, I would like a standing order for 9 a.m. on Monday," and you don't have to call all the time. So a vehicle will just be sent to you automatically. So we do have a lot of people on. We call them either standing order or subscription trips. That's, again, another way to make the service more usable to our customers.
Now, is that a cost difference?
No, there's no cost difference. It's a standard part of the service. It's just one option you can use for the service.
And there's more.
There's more.
Talk about, I know there was, when I was there, a pilot program that I think was a 2 or 3 year program for same-day parents and children, so that if a child were sick, you could actually call, go get your child, go to the doctor. How does that work? And is that still going on? I think it was in San Fernando Valley.
Yes, we received a federal grant, and we called it our Parents with Disabilities pilot program. And because there are a lot of parents out there who have disabilities.
Correct.
And they need to do the same thing as any other parents. So they need to get their kids to school. They need to get their kids to extracurricular activities.
Right.
If they are kids at school and calls and says, "I'm sick," they need to go pick up the child. So we got a federal grant to create a pilot program in the San Fernando Valley called Parents with Disabilities, which has been very, very successful.
Okay, how does that work?
It's right now. Since it's just a pilot program. It's closed to new members at this point. But we're now trying to go work with. We're trying to find partners to see if we can expand it, because essentially, it just allows the paratransit system to be more usable for these parents who have disabilities.
So what do they do? Say I have a disability, and I have a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old in kindergarten or whatever it is, and they call. You got to pick your daughter up or your son.
Well, this has specific. It's slightly different than our mainstream service, or kind of our standard service. So, for example, if you're using Access, you will generally it'll be a shared ride. So a lot of times it'll be more like a super shuttle than a taxi or an Uber or Lyft. So you might be on a trip with somebody else. With the Parents with Disabilities program, you will go by yourself with your child to school, for example. So that's just one of the ways we try to tweak the paratransit system to make it more usable for parents who have disabilities, who have children.
I think that's fabulous, Andre.
No, it's been a great program, and actually the idea was brought to us by a customer. So we try and be a very collaborative agency, where like Dove was on our community advisory committee, where our customers are the ones often giving us ideas for how to improve things. And so we try and work collaboratively with all of our partners.
Sure.
So
correct me if I'm wrong on the names, but serving on the CAC was Dina Garcia.
Yes.
And I believe her husband, is it Daniel?
Daniel Garcia.
Okay. We're very active in making this happen and leading it, along with lots of other people. I mean, we had an amazing group of people who, Michael Conrad, who then succeeded me as chair.
Correct.
They were just magnificent people. And Michael, I mean, talk about somebody who's a civic leader. He was without sight. He was a mechanic for the fire department for 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Much decorated. And he succeeded me as chair and was just wonderful. Who is the current chair of CAC?
Michael Conrad is still the current chair.
Great.
How long do they hold that position?
I think
usually 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And
we're in the process of having an election right now. So, but Michael is currently still the chair.
How many employees do you have at Access?
The public agency, which is what I'm the head of, has 71 employees, 71 public employees, but our contractors have hundreds, if not thousands, of employees.
And when you said the usability of different vehicles, like taxis, and then what else? What other vehicle? Buses, or I mean, I've seen the main one that goes.
Yeah, the main one. Our main vehicle is that accessible minivan. and then second to that are taxi cabs.
Okay.
And then we, as I think Dove referenced, we do have bigger vehicles we call them cutaways, and those can transport more people than a minivan or a taxi. But we've found that Los Angeles is so vast. It's so big that it's better to have these smaller, more nimble vehicles to provide the service than some of the bigger ones. But the bigger ones are an important part of the fleet too. It's just that you don't see them that often.
No.
One of the fun programs that I've really enjoyed participating in is something called the rodeo. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, the rodeo, we don't do the rodeo anymore.
We don't?
No, we don't. So
I used to enjoy it.
Yeah, you used to enjoy the rodeo. Well, the rodeo is a transit tradition, not just at Access, but at other properties where it's a day to celebrate the drivers and celebrate safety, safe operations where you have a obstacle course where the drivers drive around the obstacle course and the best driver wins a prize and gets to go to a national competition. So Access has not done the rodeo for several years at this point, but we're discussing bringing it back.
Okay.
I know that the drivers always loved it.
Yes.
They looked forward to it.
Right.
What else do you see on the horizons? What's coming up in 2019, 2020?
I think what my focus has been is to try and bring the same technology to our customers that everyone else enjoys, for example, with Uber or Lyft and others. So I talked about the Where's My Ride app, which is a phone app which allows you.
Now that's going on now.
Yes, that's live now.
And how does one get that if they're not that savvy? I mean,
you can get it from the Google Play Store or the App Store from Apple, and you can just download it, and then you can follow the directions on our website, www.accessla.org.
Say that once more, nice and loud.
www.accessla.org. We have kind of instructional videos about how to download and use it.
Right.
So if people don't understand how to use it when they download it or don't know how to download it, you can look at the videos. We also have a help desk, and the number is on our website as well, so people can call and talk to someone and help them install it. Right now, we have about 2,700 downloads of that app.
Oh, wow.
And the feedback has been very, very good. Like any technology project, it's an evolving thing.
Evolving thing.
But for the most part, people have found that it does enhance their experience. And I think we want to continue that momentum. And I talked about online applications.
Yes, right.
So we don't have to everyone has a choice. I can do paper, but also if I can, I'll do online. Or if perhaps I have a relative in another state and they could do it online for me and help me from somewhere else. And then we are working on online reservations. So right now you have to call.
Right.
And so we're in the process of implementing online reservations.
So right now you cannot do it online.
Correct.
Has to be by phone.
By phone.
Okay. Now one other question I'm going to ask you. 24-hour service? In other words, God forbid, people are calling ahead. I get it. But do you also, in an emergency, if someone needs help, can they call or no?
They can call, but we are really primarily a next-day service.
See. Okay.
I will say there is a lot of discussion right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I would say across the country.
I would agree. Yeah.
Across the United States about what
if an emergency?
What should paratransit be? How should it be structured?
Right.
Again, we've traditionally, at one point, we were, like I said, a curb-to-curb system. Now we do a little bit more. Right now, we're a next-day system, but I think there's discussions about doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
So again, we like to be collaborative. We like to talk to our customers and see what they need, but also we need, as a taxpayer-funded entity, we need to balance the cost as well.
Right.
So we need to kind of work on all those aspects before we change.
One of the things that was in effect, and I want to see if it's still current, is if you were at your residence, your starting destination, you could not call and get service same day. It was day before 10 p.m.
Right.
But if you are away from your home and for some reason you need a ride home and you missed the ride or your doctor's appointment went later, My understanding is that customer service is there to help.
Yes.
How do that work?
We have we call it a no strand policy. So if you're out in the community and you need assistance, you call customer service, and if you need it, we will send we call it a backup trip to help transport you home. So again, no strand
so
policy.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's part of the safety net for Access.
And now, how long, Andre, have you been with Access?
I
mean, you look like you're 18, so I don't know
how long. It's very generous.
I don't know how long you can be with it, but you really do look really young, yeah.
Well, I wish I was 18, but thank you for that. I did shave today. Maybe that's why I look a bit younger. But I was first on the Access Services Board of Directors for a couple years. I would say 17, 18 years ago at this point.
Wow.
I can't remember the exact dates.
Okay.
And then in 2006, I became an employee of Access, and I became the permanent executive director last July.
What was your passion for this? I mean, really? Because it is not only a passion, it's a dedication and a commitment to serving the public. And what was yours?
It's so much more than a job.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
is not a job.
I think I always believed in the government can do good and help people.
Yeah.
And I think that concept, perhaps in our lifetime, has come under attack.
It has.
And so, but sometimes for good reasons.
Correct.
But
I get it.
So my focus is to create, in my little world, to try and do the best we can as a government agency and help people. And so I think I've always had a passion for helping people. I've always had a belief that government can be a force of good, and that's been really what drives me.
Can we have that number nice and loud and clear to people? Because I know, especially my audience out there, many of them, if they didn't know about Access, because I have to be honest with you, I never knew about it until Dove had told me about it. And I know there's a lot that do not know about it. So what is that number, Andre, that people can call and get the information if they need and have a disability to help them out?
Sure. The main customer service number is 1-800
827
0829
0829. And you can mention that Pink Lady said, I have to call because I need some help. But really.
One of the other people I want to say publicly thank you to, Pink and I were at a birthday party for Della Reese just before she died. Mm-hmm. And we met this very nice woman who said, if I can ever do anything to help you in what you're doing, because they knew we were involved in so many different things. Mm-hmm. Her name was Monica Harris. And I brought her to the CAC meeting, and she presented. And she's the one who provides free phones and free minutes
I remember that.
to anyone within a certain income bracket. And to the best of my knowledge, many hundreds have received free phones. And every month they get free minutes, which helps them follow in
rules and
transportation,
regulations,
many of whom didn't have a cell phone.
No.
Right.
And now they do, and because Access recognized that benefit and was right on it. So I wanted to thank Monica for doing that and ask you what else. We have a few minutes left. What else is on the horizon? What can people do beyond applying and using Access and getting this tap card? What else can they do to support Access? Is there a way for the public who are not tap card holders to do something for Access?
Well, I think the public already supported not only Access but transit recently when they passed Measure M, which was another half-cent sales tax. Yeah. So for the first time, some of that money goes to Access.
Good.
But more importantly, there's in every sales tax that's been passed in Los Angeles County, there's something called local return, which goes back to the individual cities.
Oh, okay.
And what a lot of cities have chosen to do is provide accessible transportation to their residents. So I would say to anyone watching that Access is one option.
Good.
But there are other options out there. Okay. For example, if you live in Los Angeles, there's the City Ride program, which is both a taxi voucher program and also a program similar to Access. So I would say look at access, see if it meets your needs, but also look at your local community, because odds are, because of all these sales taxes that people have supported through the years, services are probably going to grow.
I have to say, I mean, I don't know where my time goes. When someone said, you're doing an hour show, that's a long time. No, it is not a long time. Let me tell you, with people like Andre and access all the information that you can get, time goes really fast. I want to thank you for not only being who you are, a kind and very caring gentleman, young looking, but actually for helping people who really, really deserve to be helped with disability, our veterans, our seniors, and everyone out there, our young people who have a disability.
Sure.
And we bless you for that.
Thank you.
And we thank your organization. Everyone in it is absolutely out there to help you. One more time, the number is
1-800
827
827 0829.
0829. Thank you, Andre Colaiace from
Thank you.
Access. God bless everyone. Thank you. See you next time.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.